Season 2 of Transformers Prime has come and gone, and now we move into Season 3 with Darkmount, Nevada. And I wanted to make a point of mentioning that this was the beginning of Season 3, because I'm pretty sure I completely forgot to mention that the last episode was the end of Season 2. Not that it's super important, but it still bugged me that I didn't. And there's a lot happening in this episode. This is a reestablishment of the status quo kind of episode, so it kind of focuses just a little bit on everything. Starscream is in full suck-up mode. Just like if Megatron had anything down there, Starscream would be keeping it serviced, let's say. And so after they recover Wheeljack from the crash of his ship, Starscream is the one to interrogate him, though he genuinely doesn't know anything about where the other Autobots might have gone or what they might have had going on, because he wasn't actively working with them. There, one box checked. There's one of the things we touch on in this episode. Meanwhile, Megatron has his troops scouring the ruins of the Autobot base, looking for the corpses of the Autobots. But thankfully he doesn't find the barely alive Optimus Prime to finish him off, because, and this is the one time I will agree 100%, that based on what he knew that the others didn't, his disobedience was a genuinely good thing. Smokescreen came back at the last second through his ground bridge and used the phase shifter, which he did snatch up back on Cybertron, to survive the blast, and then, when Optimus was in danger of being found by the Decepticons, to phase him through the ground to some underground caves to safety. I really think he probably should have mentioned that he had the phase shifter, because that's important information for them to know. They were making plans to survive, after all. That would have at least been a variable for them to keep in mind. But you know, good job, Smokescreen. And just to get it out of the way, right out the gate, we really don't get much more of this specific aspect of the plot, except that Optimus does come to. Smokescreen explains the situation as best he can, says, we need to find Ratchet, I need to get you Ratchet. But Optimus recognizes at this point that regular robot medicine isn't gonna save him. Which sucks. Also, this is pretty bad, honestly. The Decepticons searching the base find the pod with Arachnid in it, and also the Forge, so, you know, there's another asset that would have been nice to have. Somebody really should have grabbed that before they left the base. I feel like they probably had time, right? Maybe I'm just misreading how the situation played out. Meanwhile, Megatron is also, I guess, just trying to secure his position for as long as possible. He's got his new cool, spiky Iron Throne Fortress thing, right? And I guess he's just trying to minimize the problems he's going to have because of that. Because he's talking to Fowler over the phone, which is hilarious. Telling him all about how now that the Autobots are gone, their conflict is over. He's never been in conflict with the humans. And there's not that many Decepticons. Come on. They can just live here. It'll be fine. They just want to coexist with the humans. And he'd almost be believable if he didn't have the cadence of a literal supervillain the entire time. It also doesn't really help his case that this happens right after another incident where the government sends a bunch of tanks and choppers to surround Darkmount. They don't attack, mind you, but their stance is, I guess, aggressive, technically. But, fortunately, for Megatron anyway, not for the humans, obviously. A lot of humans are about to die, in fact. He doesn't even have to send any of his troopers out, because it turns out his cool, scary castle is made of guns. Guns which he claims can hit anywhere on Earth, which is terrifying. So he just blasts them with a big scrunch you into a ball gun and scrunches them all into a ball before blasting them apart. It's super cool, and I did a cool thing with my hands just now. You probably didn't see, because I probably put a clip over it. I talk with my hands, I can't help it. And as retaliation, he just levels Jasper. Like, not literally, there's still buildings standing. He ruins it. He transforms it into a Fallout map. But just to make clear to the audience that he's not serious and that he is still evil, the minute he's off the call with Fowler, he starts talking about their additional plans for conquering and exploiting the Earth with Starscream. One of the reasons I like this version of Megatron is because Like the narrative tries to pretend like his motives are noble, but he's just an unrepentant bastard. Though to be fair to the narrative, I guess it'd be more appropriate to say that the narrative tries to convince us that his motives were noble at one point. They're not anymore, obviously. Obviously. And it's impressive. And it's scary. And they don't reveal to us until afterwards that the citizens of Jasper had already been evacuated prior to the military's attempted strike on Darkmount. And after seeing all of those vehicles with soldiers in them destroyed, clearly racking up a human body count, for a second you kind of wonder, are they going to imply it? They're going to imply it if they do it, but are they going to imply that he literally killed everybody in Jasper? It's kind of super hardcore. But no, the population of Jasper's alive, and June Darby is actually working with Fowler right now until things get stabilized. So we know she's okay too, but she's desperate to know where her son is. But Fowler doesn't know that. Fowler doesn't know where he is or if he's even alive. And I can't imagine how difficult that must be for her, because they're literally all each other has, right? They're one of those kinds of families. You see this archetype a lot in animation, like Troll Hunters, for example. The main character in Troll Hunters and his mom were kind of similar to this tale. And that's one of my favorite things about this show, is we don't really get, I don't think we get at all, actually, in fact, any of the other kids' parents, really. Like, there's mentions of them and stuff, but, like, we just get June. And that's more than enough, because her relationship with her son is that interesting. Though I have to admit, when June first walked in, the first time we saw her, and asked if they had heard anything, I was half thinking that she was worried about Optimus because of how hot she is for Optimus, which would have objectively been very funny. I kind of wish it were true. And that's all good. That's all very good. It's all very scary stuff that establishes very quickly how screwed Earth is and how much power Megatron now wields. Really showing off how dangerous the Omega Key is, too. If it was able to make this place from scratch, Megatron restoring Cybertron in his own image wouldn't have just restored the planet. He would have, made himself a bunch of these things, too, or worse, right? But, of course, we still need to check in with our other characters, or at least most of them, the ones who have kids with them, so that we can check in on 2 characters at a time. And you just know, with the 3 of them and their distinct personalities, you know who I'm talking about already, one of them is going to screw up, because they're all radio silent. Realize Megatron has Soundwave. He's monitoring all of Earth's communications for any communications from these kids that he can pinpoint and use to locate them and their Autobots. So none of them can use their cell phones. And so we check in with Raph. We see that Bumblebee's being the stealthy scout that he is. He changed up his color scheme to throw off the really, really stupid Decepticon scouts. Then we check in with Miko. And, yeah, there it is. She's getting at her cell phone. No, wait. She was just playing a game. Okay, we're good. The only one we have left now is the responsible one. I guess they're gonna get out of this. No, Jack, what are you doing? Jack, no. God dang it, Jack. So yeah, anyway, because of that whole relationship thing I was just talking about a second ago, Jack texts his mom that he's okay, and the Decepticons now know where he and RC is. And even though they managed to defeat the Scouts and even knock out Laserbeak while he's live streaming the whole thing to all of Megatron's followers, really hurting his follower count, probably, this is still quite the slip-up. And while it is entirely in character for him to worry so much about his mom that he makes this executive decision all on his own, still kind of pisses me off. Straight up, I wouldn't have even kept my phone if I was in this situation. It just seems like a liability at this point. But at the very least, he's learned his lesson now, and Megatron realizes that being reactive like this, they need a better way to track the Autobots, to find them on this planet. After all, it's not like they can just fire up the Omega Lock and finish terraforming the planet like they wanted. That was destroyed. They would need a super genius to implement any plan even nearly on that level, and then Shockwave comes through the space bridge. Okay, cool. Well, that sucks for our heroes. Anyway, good news for Megatron. Like, I don't remember specifically what they used Shockwave for here. Is he going to rebuild the lock? I don't know. But if they have the resources for him to do it, he probably can. And that is not a good thing. Also, they have the Apex armor, which is that just makes things worse. Though it is worth keeping in mind that the one thing that beats the Apex armor is the phase shifter, and that is the one artifact that we're 100% sure the Autobots still have. So maybe it's not that big a deal. I'm really excited about this. I don't remember Season 3 hardly at all. I'm not even 100% sure I watched much of Season 3. I certainly didn't remember a lot of the details in this episode, and the ones that I did remember could just be like phantom memories, because like it's not like other shows haven't done similar stuff to this before, right? So I'm super psyched to be at this part of the show. And this was a very good episode. I clowned on it pretty hard because I'm trying to do that more. I think it makes the videos more enjoyable. But this was a really good episode. It managed to set things up pretty spectacularly. Like, I don't know how long the status quo is going to remain this way. Like, are we going to get whole episodes of like each of the Autobots who have a kid with them like doing their own thing and evading capture or being spotted or whatever? That'd be cool. I doubt we're going to, but it'd be cool to see it. Point is, I don't remember most of the specifics of where this is going. I remember some of the broad strokes and some of the big moments. I don't remember much of the specifics, and I'm really looking forward to revisiting those. In the meantime, though, as per usual, what do you guys think of Darkmount, Nevada? How cool a title is that, by the way? Isn't that great? But what do you think of it if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.